Princess Zalara stood tall on the deck of the Sci-Fi Star Cruiser Starlight Vow. Her silver gown shimmered like the stars outside the window. Her eyes, glowing violet, looked calm, but inside her heart beat fast. Today was important. She was on her way to the neutral zone, where she would meet the ambassador of the Thalnary Empire. Her mission was to form an alliance through marriage. It was her duty. It was her fate. "Are you ready, Your Highness?" asked Captain Velron, the ship's commander and her personal guard. "I must be Zalara," said softly. "For peace." The ship glided through space like a silent arrow. Stars stretched across the black sky. But peace is often just a dream in space. Suddenly alarms rang out. Red lights flashed across the control room. "We're under attack," shouted a crew member. "Multiple ships incoming. Shields up. Prepare for evasive action," Velron ordered. The enemy ships were fast and dark. They had no flags, no emblems. Pirates or worse. Laser fire hit the Starlight Vow, shaking. Its sparks flew from the ceiling. Zalara held onto a rail as the ship shook again. "We're being boarded!" someone yelled. Guards ran to protect her, but the enemy came fast. They were tall, armored beings, masked, silent, deadly. They moved like shadows. The Sci-Fi soldiers fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. Velron stood by Zalara until the last second. "Run, princess," he shouted as a blast threw him to the ground. Zalara tried to escape, but one of the attackers grabbed her from behind. She struggled, her royal training kicking in. She even broke free for a moment, but then dashed darkness. When she woke up, she was in a cold metal room, a prison cell. The walls were dull gray. There was a small light in the ceiling, no windows. Her hands were chained to the wall behind her. Her head hurt. Her dress was torn at the sleeve. Her crown was gone. "Where am I?" she whispered. A groan came from the other side of the cell. She turned her head. In the corner sat a human. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with short dark hair and a rough beard. His face had a fresh cut, and his left arm was wrapped in dirty cloth. He looked tired, angry, and dangerous. "Another prisoner," he muttered. "Great," Zalara blinked. "You're human." The man gave her a hard look. "And you're a Sci-Fi, royal judging by the way you talk." She sat up straighter. "I am Princess Zalara of the Sci-Fi Empire," he snorted. "Wonderful. A princess." She frowned. "What is your name?" "Commander Jace Carter," he said. "Human resistance, or I was." "What do you mean?" "I got captured during a mission. These raiders sell prisoners. Sometimes to empires, sometimes to slave markets." Hearts sank. "Then we must escape." Jace laughed bitterly. "Easier said than done, Your Highness." Days passed. The raiders gave them just enough food and water to stay alive. The cell was small, cold, no privacy. But slowly, Zalara and Jace began to talk more. He told her about Earth, how it had fallen centuries ago after war and disease. He had grown up on a refugee ship. He joined the resistance when he was only 16. He fought to protect the last, free human colonies. Zalara told him about her royal training, how she had studied diplomacy, combat, and languages. She spoke 12 alien tongues. But she had never met a human face-to-face before. "You're not what I expected," she said one day. "And you're exactly what I expected," Jace replied. Then he smirked. "But maybe a bit less annoying than most royals." She smiled slightly. "Is that a compliment?" "Maybe." One night the ship shook violently. "What was that?" Zalara asked. "Someone's attacking the raiders," Jace said, sitting up. "This might be our only chance." He stood and pulled on the chains at his wrists. After weeks of trying, the bolts were loose. Using all his strength, he pulled until one chain snapped from the wall. He ran to her and broke her chains too. "Can you run?" he asked. "Yes," she said, standing. They ran out of the cell. The halls were chaos. Gunfire echoed. Explosions shook the floor. Jace grabbed a fallen guard's blaster. He gave Zalara a knife. They moved quickly, avoiding fights where they could. When they had to fight, Jace was fast and brutal. Zalara used her speed and training. Together, they were unstoppable. They reached the hangar. Ships were burning. One old cargo shuttle still looked usable. They ran to it. Door inside, sparks flew from broken panels, but the engine still glowed. "This thing might fly," he said. "Get in." Zalara jumped into the pilot's seat. "I can fly it. Cover me." Jace fired at approaching raiders while she started the ship. The shuttle lifted, shaky but flying. They blasted out of the raider ship just as it exploded behind them. They floated through space, silent, safe for now. "Are you all right?" Jace asked. Zalara nodded. "Yes, thanks to you." He sat beside her, breathing hard. It was close. They flew the damaged shuttle into a quiet asteroid field to hide. Zalara leaned back and looked at her hand. A faint golden glow appeared on her palm. "What is this?" she whispered. JSC looked at his hand. The same glow was there. They both stared at the marks. "What does it mean?" he asked. Zalara didn't know. But deep inside, something old and powerful stirred in her heart. Something was changing. Something that would change the galaxy forever. The small cargo shuttle moved slowly but carefully through the asteroid field. Jagged rocks floated all around, casting shadows on the ship's worn metal. Outside the tiny window, stars blinked in the cold dark. Inside, Princess Zalara and Commander Jace Carter sat side by side, their hands still glowing faintly with the strange golden light. Zalara looked at her hand again. "Jace, do you feel anything else? Any pain or power?" Jace shook his head. "Nothing. Yet, just this mark. It appeared right after we escaped." She nodded. "It feels warm, like it's alive." Jace frowned. "That's not normal. Humans don't get marks that glow for no reason." Solaire's violet eyes searched his face. "I think it's connected to us." Somehow Jace gave a short laugh. "Great. More mysteries." For the first time, the silence between them was not cold, but calm. They shared a new bond. Not just prisoners or strangers anymore. Days passed as they traveled through dangerous space. The shuttle was old and fragile, but Jace was a skilled pilot. He dodged pirate ships and avoided patrols of the Sci-Fi Empire. Each jump through space was tense. Each planet they passed could have enemies. Jace taught Zalara how to use the ship's simple weapons. She learned quickly. She practiced aiming the blaster while the shuttle shook in space storms. "You have good reflexes for a princess," Jace said with a smile. Zalara smiled back. "Thank you. I trained since I was a child." One night after another close call, with bounty hunters, Zalara sat beside the window and spoke quietly. "Jace, why did you save me?" "You didn't have to risk your life." He looked away, his jaw tight. "I don't like captors or bullies. And maybe I saw something in you, something different." Zalara's heart skipped. "Different." Nodded slowly. "You're not like other royals. You fight. You think. You don't just follow orders." Zalara touched her glowing hand again. "Maybe. This bond is why." As they reached the outer borders of Sci-Fi space, trouble found them again. A fleet of fast enemy ships blocked their path. The Ruthaunary Raiders mercenaries hired by unknown forces to capture or kill. "Scan says we're surrounded," Ace said grimly. "They want us badly." Zalara stood, determination shining in her eyes. "Then we fight." Jace raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" "I'm not a princess who hides," she said. "I am a warrior." The shuttle's tiny weapons hummed to life. Laser cannons opened fire at the nearest enemy ships. The battle was fierce, as a small shuttle darted between asteroids, weaving and dodging blasts. Jace shouted orders, guiding Zalara where to shoot. They worked like a team, their bond making. Then sharper, suddenly a massive enemy ship fired a charged plasma blast. It hit the shuttle's engine. Sparks flew everywhere. The engine coughed and died. The shuttle drifted helplessly. The enemy closed in. "Get ready to eject," Jace yelled. "No," Zalara said. "We can fix this." With shaking hands, she used the ship's controls to reroute power. The glow on her hands grew stronger. The ship's systems flickered back on. Jace stared at her. "How did you do that?" Zalara shook her head. "I don't know." She focused, sending calm energy through the ship. The engines roared to life. They escaped the trap by a hair. Later, on a quiet planet, they found shelter. The surface was rocky, with tall red mountains and dry winds. It was a rebel world, far from the Empire's reach. They landed in a small cave. The glow on their hands dimmed but never disappeared. Zalara sat beside Jace, her mind racing. Who or what made this? Bond, she wondered aloud. Jace leaned forward.
Ow.
There's an old legend on Earth, the soul bond. It said two people can be linked forever, cross time and space by fate. Zalara's eyes widened. Could that be us? Maybe, Jace said quietly. They looked at each other, the distance between them shrinking. In the cave, an old woman approached. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes shone with wisdom. She introduced herself as Priestess Mela, once part of the Seraphi's royal order but now in exile. Mela studied Zalara and Jace carefully. The marks you bear, she said softly, are the signs of the soul bond. It connects to souls destined to be together. Zalara's breath caught. But how? I am royalty, and he is human. The bond is ancient and rare. It breaks all rules and laws. But it gives power and strength beyond measure. Jace looked skeptical. Power? Like what? Mela raised her hand. Light shimmered around her fingers. Together, you will be stronger. You will understand each other's hearts and fight as one. Zalara looked at Jace. She could feel the truth in the priestess's words. Suddenly, a message echoed in the cave. Warning. Bounty hunters detected near the planet's surface. Jace drew his blaster. Time to move. Outside, armed men in black armor surrounded them. The bounty hunters were skilled and ruthless. A fight broke out. Blaster fire lit the sky. Zalara felt a new power rising in her. She moved faster, stronger. Jace fought beside her with fierce protectiveness. Together, they were unstoppable. When the last hunter fell, the glow on their hands faded, but the bond remained. Zalara knew she could never go back to the way things. Where she was no longer just a princess. She was bonded to a human warrior. And that truth would change everything. The sun was rising slowly over the rocky hills of the hidden planet. A soft orange glow touched the sharp mountains, and long shadows stretched over the desert floor. In a cave just below the surface, Princess Zalara sat beside a small fire, watching. The flames dance. Her fingers traced the golden mark on her palm. It was still there, glowing softly warm like a heartbeat. Commander Jace Carter was standing near the entrance of the cave, holding a blaster and keeping watch. We should leave. Soon, he said. The bounty hunters may send more. Zalara nodded. I know. But before we go, I need to understand what we are. She looked at the old priestess Mela, who had stayed silent since the fight. Mela now stepped forward, her long robes sweeping across the ground like whispers. You two were not brought together by chance, Mela said calmly. Your meeting, your escape, your bond, it was written in the stars long ago. Zalara frowned. But how? He's human. I'm Sci-Fi. Our people are not connected. Mela gave a slow smile. Long before the empires rose, there were starborn. Souls, ones that could find each other across galaxies. These souls carry the bond of light. It awakens only once in 1,000 years. Jace raised an eyebrow. And we're those souls? Yes, Mela said. You are bonded mates. Zalara felt her heart beat faster. What does that mean for us? It means your lives are now linked. If one suffers, the other feels it. If one dies, Mela paused. The bond will break the other. Jace's jaw tightened. Ass! Heavy Malay continued, but together you gain strength. Your powers grow. You'll start to feel each other's thoughts, even emotions. Zalara looked at Jace. For a moment, their eyes locked. She did feel something more than just emotion. A pull, like gravity between stars. Later that day, as they prepared their ship for flight, Jace sat quietly in the cockpit, staring out at the sky. Zalara came to sit beside him. "You haven't said much since Mela told us," she said. "I'm not good with fate," he answered. "You don't believe it? I believe in war, choices, not destiny." Zalara looked down, and now Jace sighed. "Now, I don't know. But I know I don't want to see you hurt. And if this bond means I have to protect you, I will." Her voice softened. "You're not protecting me, Jace. We protect each other." He looked at her then, really looked. And for the first time, he smiled without any sarcasm. They took off from the planet, leaving Mela behind with her wisdom and warnings. Their next destination was Claire Solara's homeworld, Seraphia Prime. "I need to face my father," Zalara said. "He must hear the truth." Jace glanced at her. "You think he'll listen?" She shook her head. "No, but I must try." As they neared Seraphie space, the stars around them grew brighter, sharper. The Empire's patrols scanned their ship, but Zalara used an old royal code to get clearance. Inside the capital city, huge towers of crystal rose high into the clouds. Seraphia Prime was a beautiful world, full of light, music, and order. Now it felt cold. They landed the shuttle secretly using an old hangar once used by royal spies. Jace looked around. "You have a plan?" "Yes," Zalara said. "We go to the palace tunnels. I know a secret way in." Jace loaded his blaster. "Let's do it." Inside the palace, guards marched through glowing halls. Above the throne room stood tall and quiet. The Emperor Varix sat upon his high seat made of living crystal. His golden crown reflected the light from the sun. He was a tall man, powerful, proud, and wise. But when Zalara walked into the throne room with Jace beside her, his face turned hard. "Zalara," he said, rising. "Do you dare return with him?" Guards raised their weapons. Jace reached for his own, but Zalara raised her hand. "Father, listen to me," she said loudly. "This is Commander Jace Carter. He saved my life." "You were kidnapped," Varric said. "I sent a fleet. You were lost. And now you return. With a human? I have something to show you," she said. She lifted her palm. The golden mark glowed bright in the air. Jace stepped forward and did the same. The entire room gasped. One of the royal advisors shouted, "That is the bond of light." Varrex's voice thundered. "No, that bond is forbidden. You are promised to Lord Threx, an alien noble, not this." Zalara's voice was steady. "I did not choose this. That a bond chose us." "You shame your people!" Varric shouted. "This human is not your equal." "I feel his pain, his thoughts, his courage," Zalara said. "He is more than worthy." The Emperor raised his hand. "Take him away." Guards rushed forward. Jace fought back, but Zalara stepped in front of him. "No. He is my bonded mate." The mark on her hand flared bright, sending a shockwave through the air. Guards were thrown back. The Emperor stared, shocked, but then another voice echoed across the hall. "Well, that was dramatic," said Lord Threx. Lord Threx was tall, cold, and cruel. His armor shined like silver ice. He stepped out from the shadows, his sharp eyes full of anger. "She belongs to me," Threx said. "The bond means nothing. I will kill the human and take the throne beside her." Zalara's eyes narrowed. "You will never touch me." Threx laughed. "We'll see." In a flash, guards grabbed Jace. He fought, but there were too many. "Take him to the crystal prison," Threx said. "I will deal with him myself." Zalara was pulled away from Jace as he shouted her name. "Zalara, don't let them." But the doors slammed shut. That night, Zalara stood alone in her chamber. Her hand still glowed, but the light was weak. She could feel Jace's pain through the bond. It was sharp, like glass in her chest. She sat down, holding her hand tight. Tears touched her eyes. A soft knock came at her door. It was her younger brother. "Prince Kalen, I heard what happened," he said. "And I believe you." "You do?" she whispered. He nodded. "I've seen the bond in old records." It is real, and I've never seen you like this before. You're stronger, braver. Zalara stood. Then help me, he smiled. Always. Kellen's help, she sneaked through the palace tunnels to reach the prison towers. Inside the crystal cell, Jace sat against the wall, bruised and bleeding. But when he saw Zalara, he smiled. I knew you'd come. She opened the cell door. With Kellen's key, let's go, she said. They ran through the dark halls. Guards chased them, but Kellen stayed behind to hold them off. Jace limped beside Zalara. But her touch gave him strength. I'm not leaving without you again, she said. They escaped the palace and fled into the shadows of the city. They didn't know where they would go next. But they knew one thing for sure. They were not just a princess and a warrior. Anymore, they were bonded souls, and the galaxy would soon learn what that meant. Dark clouds moved across the skies of Seraphia Prime as Zalara and Jace hid in the ruins of an old spaceport outside the city walls. The once grand station had turned into broken towers and dusty halls. It was a place forgotten by most, but not by Zalara. She had played here as a child, long before war and duty shaped her world. Jace sat on the floor, wrapping a cloth around his wounded arm. His face was pale, but his eyes were focused. Thanks for getting me out, he said. Zalara knelt beside him. I should have never let them take you. He gave a weak smile. You didn't let them? You took me. And now we take the fight to them. Zalara touched the golden mark on her palm. It was glowing again, brighter than before. I feel your pain, she whispered. Through the bond, Jace placed his hand over hers. And I feel your fire. They sat in silence for a moment. But silence in war is short suddenly. Footsteps echoed in the broken halls. Zalara stood up, ready to fight, but the face that appeared brought a wave of relief. Kalen, she said. Her younger brother rushed toward them, dressed in civilian clothes. I told them you escaped. I covered your trail as long as I could. You risked everything, Jace said. Kalen nodded. For my sister and for the truth. Is father still listening to Threx? Kellen's face darkened. Worse, Threx now controls the High Council. He convinced them that Jace used forbidden magic to control you. Jace laughed bitterly. Of course, the old mind control excuse. They plan to crown Threx as emperor tomorrow, Kalen said. Father is too weak to stop it now. He has been poisoned slowly. Zalara's eyes widened. What? Kalen nodded. I found traces in his food. Threx is behind it. He wants the throne, and you. Jace clenched his fists. He's going to die for that. No, Zalara said, her voice sharp. He's going to fall. But we do this right. We gather allies, expose his crimes, and take back the throne. Later, that night, they moved through the shadows of the lower city. The royal towers above glowed like cold stars. But here the streets were dark and broken. Here lived the workers, soldiers, rebels people, forgotten by the nobles. Kalen led them to an old safe house. Inside were 3 Seraphim warriors and a human woman wearing armor. Zalara. Jace. Kalen said, these are people who believe in change. The human woman stepped forward. Name's Mara. I fought with Jace during the resistance days. Jace grinned. Mara. I thought you were dead almost, she said. But I've been building something here. A network. Humans, Seraphim, even some Thaunery who left the Empire. Zalara looked around. Will they fight with us? They're ready, Mara said. But we need more. The people still think you're lost. If they see you and Jace together, they'll rise. Zalara nodded. Then we show them the truth. The next day, across Seraphim space, a hacked broadcast appeared on every screen. It showed Zalara and Jace standing side by side. Her hand glowed. His eyes were clear and strong. I am Princess Zalara, she said, and this is Commander Jace Carter. He is my bonded mate. Our souls are linked by the bond of light. Then she showed the mark. This bond is not evil. It is ancient, sacred, and it has made us stronger together. Jace stepped forward. Threx lies. He poisons your emperor, steals your freedom, but he cannot break this bond. He cannot break us. The message spread like fire. In the capital, some guards began to whisper. In the outer colonies, ships lifted in support. In the shadows, hope was rising. In the palace, Threx smashed a glass in rage. They dare show their faces, yelled. Guards, prepare for war. But even as he shouted, his power began to crack. Council members questioned his orders. Servants vanished from the halls. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And the emperor, Virax, was found unconscious in his chamber but not dead. Zilara, her allies moved fast. They stole into the royal shipyard and gathered a small fleet. Mara brought human pilots. Kalan led Seraphi warriors. As the new rebel fleet rose into the sky, Jace stood at the command deck, ready to take the palace back, he asked. Zilara stood beside him, wearing new armor made of black crystal and silver. Yes, she said. It's time. Above the capital, the sky turned into fire. Threx launched his royal fleet to crush the rebels. But Jace's tactics were sharp and fast. He moved the ships like blades, cutting through Threx's lines. Inside the palace, chaos spread. Guards loyal to Zilara opened the gates. Zilara, Kaelin, and a squad of warriors stormed the throne room. Threx stood waiting, dressed in war armor. You should have stayed in hiding, princess, he growled. Zilara raised her sword. And let you destroy my family? Never, they fought. Blades clashed. Power burned in the air. Threx was strong, but Zilara was stronger. The bond with Jace filled her with energy. As Threx lifted his blade for a final strike, Jace burst through. The doors? You're done, he said. Together, Zilara and Jace fought as one. Every move was matched, every strike perfect. In the end, Threx fell defeated. With the council watching, Zilara helped her father to the throne. He opened his eyes slowly. You came back? I never left, she said softly. The Emperor looked at Jace. So, this is the one. Jace bowed. Yes, sir. Varric smiled weakly. Then I'm proud. Not because of who you are, but because of who she is with you. The next day, the people gathered in the royal square. Princess Zilara stood before them, hand in hand with Jace. I will not rule through fear, she said. I will rule through truth. The crowd cheered. And so, the princess and the human bonded by fate, tested by Warbeeg in a new chapter. Together, the morning sun rose over Seraphia Prime, shining on the great city filled with hopeful faces. The royal square was alive with cheers and banners waving in the warm breeze. People of all races, Sci-Fi, humans, and even some outsiders gathered to witness the dawn of a new era. Princess Zilara stood tall on the balcony of the palace. Beside her was Commander Jace Carter, her bonded mate, her protector, her equal. The golden mark on their hands shone softly in the sunlight, a symbol of their unbreakable bond. Zilara looked out at the crowd, feeling the weight of her new role. The throne was no longer just a place of power, but a promise to bring peace, unity, and hope to a galaxy torn by war and fear. Her voice rang clear and strong. People of the Seraphi Empire and beyond, today marks a new beginning. No longer will we be divided by fear or old laws. Today we stand united, humans and aliens together as one. The crowd erupted in cheers. Jace stepped forward and spoke. In his deep, steady voice, for too long, we have fought each other, but we have also fought to survive. Now we fight to live together in peace. I stand with Princess Zellerana as her protector, but as her partner. The people cheered louder. Some wiped tears from their eyes. In the weeks that followed, the palace buzzed with change. Old customs gave way to new ideas. The Council of Lords opened its doors to voices from all species, including humans who were once outsiders. Technology and knowledge were shared freely. Zilara and Jace worked tirelessly, traveling across the Empire and beyond. They visited colonies where humans and aliens lived side by side, inspiring hope and courage. Their bond grew stronger every day, and with it, their power. One evening,
After a long day of talks and ceremonies, Zalara and Jace stood on the balcony looking at the stars. Do you ever wonder what life would have been like if we never met?
Zalara asked softly. Jace smiled. I do, but then I remember the bond was always there, waiting for us. I think the stars brought us together for a reason. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I'm glad they did. But peace is never simple. In the shadows, enemies plotted. Some nobles still resented the changes. Lord Threx's followers hid in the dark, waiting for a chance to strike. One night, the palace alarms blared. Jace and Zalara rushed to the command center. A fleet of ships had broken through the outer defenses. Raiders, loyal to Threx, attacked. Prepare the fleet, Jace commanded. We defend our home. Zalara activated her power. The golden mark on her hand flared bright. Energy pulsed around her, lighting the room. Together, they led the defense. Zalara's voice carried across the battle, inspiring. The soldiers. Jace's tactics were precise and fierce. The battle raged through space. Laser fire cutting stars like streaks of light. Despite the enemy's strength, the rebel fleet fought bravely. Zalara's bond with Jace gave her strength she never knew. Together, they moved as one, a force unstoppable. At the battle's climax, Zalara and Jace boarded the enemy's flagship. Side by side, they faced the raider leader, a fierce warrior. Who once served Threx? You will never rule, the leader growled. Zalara raised her sword, glowing with light. We already do. Together, they fought fiercely. Every strike was met with another, but the bond between Zalara and Jace was stronger than steel. With one final blow, they defeated the raider leader. After the battle, peace returned. The people celebrated their victory, but they also knew the galaxy was vast, and threats remained. Zalara and Jace stood before the Council of Worlds, proposing a new alliance or union of species, united by trust and respect. The council members debated, some doubtful, some hopeful. Zalara spoke from her heart. The bond between me and Jace is proof that the universe can bring us together, no matter how different we are. Let this be the beginning of a new era where all species can live in peace. Slowly, the council voted. The new alliance was born. Years passed. Sci-Fi Empire grew stronger and kinder. Zalara and Jace ruled together, leading not just with power, but with love and understanding. Their story became legend, a tale told to children on many worlds. A story of a princess and a human warrior who defied fate and changed the galaxy. One night, as they watched the stars from their chamber, Jace turned to Zalara. What now? He asked. She smiled. Now we keep building together. He took her hand, the golden marks glowing softly. Together, he agreed, and under the endless sky, two souls bonded by destiny and love stood ready for whatever the future held.